Hello, and thank you for joining the Champion Within podcast, your premier go-to spot for unlocking your winning mindset. Whether you're an athlete looking to elevate your game to the next level, a coach leading the charge, an enthusiastic parent cheering from the sidelines, or an educator molding young minds, the Champion Within podcast episodes are packed with value, sharing the tools and strategies to unlock your potential and rise to new heights. Hosted by mentor, coach, and mindset leader Kate McCauley. Let's sit back and enjoy today's episode while discovering your champion within. And now, here's Kate.
Hey champions, thank you for joining me on the Champion Within today. I am super excited for you to listen to this chat with my guest. You know that when I started the podcast, I was originally reaching out to all kinds of different people to come on the show. And now I have people message me, which I'm really grateful for because I get to see a different side of people and different people from different places that I might not have found on my own. I'm also going to tell you that I get some strange requests from some people, and I do not say yes to everyone. You have to really make the cut. I'm pretty particular when I decide this is a Champion Within guest. And today's guest sent me an email, and I was intrigued from the very start. Of course, I went to my deep dive stalking, started to look into what he's all about. Who is this guy? He's got this cool book. Let me learn a little bit more about him. I didn't have to look very far. He fits the Champion Within framework and everything that I stand for really kind of crazily, actually. I think you're going to learn a lot. I'm excited to learn about his journey. His name is Kijuan, and he was a fighter jet pilot. He might have to correct me there. He was in the Air Force and he was refueling on flight. Seems like a really cool job. I want to hear about that. But then something happened and he got into a terrible motorcycle accident. I don't want to give the story away. I really want to hear it from his point of view. But I do want to tell you that his book really teaches us a lot of lessons. And I think you're going to learn that all the way back to his time as really a high school football player. I did a little deep dive here and learned about who he is and now at the gym and what he does. His book, you're going to learn that this resilience characteristic that he has been here for a while. It is just kicked up a notch since this terrible accident. Kijuan, how are you today? And thank you for joining us.
Kate, I might have to hire you to start introducing me for my speaking engagement.
We can work something out. I think the
awesome.
thing.
that was pretty awesome. I was just over here giggling and grinning for those who can't see me. It was awesome. Yeah, no, I'm doing great. So awesome. Happy that you invited me here today. This is awesome.
Good. I was really glad you reached out because, as I said, it's hard for me sometimes to find podcast guests that I think are, wow, this is a really cool story. I get some interesting emails, but when yours came in, I thought, ooh, let me dive a little bit into this one. Let's go back and tell my audience, because I do think I could read your bio and say who you are. I know I got that MC, introduction thing down. I'll happily come to one of your speaking engagements. I really think that each individual does a better job than me saying who they are. So tell my audience, who are you? How did you get here? I mean, the shortened version. Of course, we're going to dive deep as we talk.
Yeah, no problem. I can definitely do that. And I always say, who better to tell anybody about who you are than you? I was born and raised in Durham, North Carolina, and played football, like you said, middle school, high school. I even played semi-professional while I was in the Air Force. I played semi-professional football to the point where in my book, I mentioned it. I flew home from England. Hear me clearly. Flew home from England and made it to a football game by halftime.
Dedication right there.
So already showing you a little bit of me already, that champion within. I had to win, okay? So anywho, did that. I love football, still do to today. I'll let you even say go Eagles, that was pretty cool.
We talked about that before. Yeah. You were like, where are you from exactly? Check it out if my accent fit that Philly area.
Yeah.
And I won't go too hard in it, but it does happen sometimes. We love
I definitely jumped on the bandwagon, especially with the Saquon Barkley signing. It was amazing.
Well, he's
So
a Penn Stater too, and that's
yeah,
where I went.
homegrown,
Yeah,
homegrown.
so we really love Saquon. He has sandwiches and
Oh,
things
does
named
he?
after him now in our
Oh, okay,
area.
nice, nice.
Yeah, so if people are like, "You gotta get the Saquon down at La Spada's," which is,
Okay,
outside of Philly, everyone's like, "Oh, I'm on it."
right,
So
right.
keep going. Tell
Yeah,
us
yeah.
about your journey.
So yeah, getting into the Air Force, I'll go ahead and correct you now. I was
Yeah,
not a
correct me.
fighter pilot. I was not a fighter pilot, but I saw plenty of them.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is the in-flight refueling part of it. I was the guy refueling them. So
Okay.
so it's basically like they were pulling up to a flying gas station, literally.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, that was my job. I was the guy manning the controls. Okay.
Okay.
So they just pull up behind you and say, "Hey, top me off," or "I'm looking for 4 to 5, maybe 6, 7, 1,000 pounds of fuel,
Wow.
depending on how big the jet is." And we go from there. But it's not just fighters. There's bombers. There's cargo aircraft. There's reconnaissance planes. Even other tankers, such as myself. I could refuel other tankers that had the capabilities.
So how did you get into that? Was it something that you wanted to do, or how did this happen for you?
Listen, I had no idea this video game existed.
I love that.
Okay, literally. When I saw this, of course, I went back in. I went in the military in February of 2011. I graduated in 2010 from high school. So I'm in the recruiter's office in 2010. And I'm looking at this computer. He's like, "Dude, you landed some great jobs." And I scored really high on my ASVAB. So he was like, "You landed some great jobs." I had like 7 or 8 pages worth of jobs. And I mean like lists.
Possibilities.
Yes.
Okay.
And he's done went through and highlighted all that stuff. I'm like, I know I don't want to do that. I definitely don't want to do that.
Right. You're like, not for me.
I am not going to be, and I love, hey, shouts out to all my PJs, but y'all got it. I ain't got no job. I can't do it.
So funny. So funny.
So,
then you saw this pop up and said, "Tell me more."
Well, not even that. He was like, "Hey man, you should really look into this." And I'm like, well, what is that? It read in-flight refueling specialist. And I said, "What is that?" And he was like, "You don't know what that is?" I said, "I wouldn't be in your office."
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, like, this is your job, not mine.
Right.
I'm not in yet. And so he turns around to his computer, because we were literally in his office, turned around to the computer, pulls it up. And when he started showing me this video, like, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at first, I'm like, all right, you showing me some BS.
Right.
Here he goes. I'm gonna get shown this video, and then I'm gonna get handed a rifle.
Right. You're like, are they conning me? Is this real?
Yeah. I said, come on, man, this can't be real. He's like, no, seriously, this is real. Like, there's only a couple of only the military does this, and it's only the U.S., I think the Japanese, somebody else that actually do the refueling. Like, it's not even many countries that do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really cool. I didn't know anything about that. Clearly, in the beginning, I'm like, I'm not exactly sure what he did.
Listen, so when I say I'm a drop in the bucket when it comes to jobs in the military, I really am. I'm like one in a million.
The picture you sent, you're sitting in the propeller, I guess.
That was the engine. Yeah, we were actually waiting on our fighters. That was down in Florida. So we were at Eglin Air Force Base down in, I think that's Destin, Florida.
Okay, yeah.
We are waiting on our fighters, because that was where like the test fighters do their stuff for maybe refueling, some of their on system stuff, whatever, onboard systems. And so we were doing it. We were there for their refueling system, to test our refueling system. This was the F-35 that we were waiting on that day. I don't know how many people know about this program. It's kind of one of those programs.
Okay.
So it's kind of like we're just pouring money into it right now.
Okay.
But anyway, that was one of those long days where we're just sitting on the ground like, are they ever going to tell us they're ready?
Right.
And we can hear them. We're on the flight. We're on the flight line, so we can hear what they're doing off in the distance.
Okay.
It's not like they're far away.
Yeah, you're like, when's this going to happen?
Because listen, I'm going to tell you right now, fighter jet engines are very loud. If you didn't know. That's just FYI. If you didn't know, they're very loud.
Yeah,
So
I mean, you know when they're coming. Yeah.
Yes, we can hear y'all, starting the engines. Now, what we don't know is what you're doing. Because if you're not communicating with us, you're just communicating with your ground personnel. you know, hey, or telling them what's going on inside the jet. Like something might really be wrong because, like I said, those were the test fighters.
Gotcha.
You know, so anyway.
So you hopped in and got a cool picture.
That was, I was like, yeah, I've seen one of those pictures somewhere before. I don't remember who did it first. I'm not the originator. I'm an imitator. It's okay. It's okay. But it's still cool for me.
That's form of flattery, actually.
Yes, it's still cool, you know?
It's really a cool shot. So those who are like, I want to see this picture right now. So,
I'm sorry. I got to say this as well.
Yeah,
also, for the audience, I cannot see a thing. We'll get into that later.
We're going to talk about that next, actually.
But I can't see a thing, but I just threw up the deuces exactly how I did it in the picture.
I love it. Let's jump into that, actually. You're in this amazing job. If I remember correctly, it was May 5th that you had this accident. Tell my audience what happened.
Yeah, so May 5th, 2017, to be exact. A day I will never forget. Some might call it Cinco de Mayo. I call it my new life journey.
Mm.
And I actually, so at this point in time in 2017, I had already transitioned over to the reserves. I'm no longer active duty at this point. That picture you saw, I was active duty.
I figured.
Yes, but anywho, I now was in the reserves. And I had to work that night because you don't work every day in the reserves unless you're considered an ART, you know, or an AGR, Active Guard Reserve.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So those are positions that could be considered full-time or, you know, you make it high up in the ranks where they put you back in active duty kind of thing. Anyway, I had to work that night. I was a business owner at this time as well. I was 25.
Okay.
And the business was called Kiwi Enterprise. Kiwi was like my call sign / nickname.
I was curious where you got that nickname.
Yeah, when I was growing up. My great aunt, she gave it to me.
I love it.
And I kept that nickname because she passed away when I was on active duty.
Mm.
So I wanted to keep her going in life.
I love that.
And so I carried that name into the military, into business, into my book.
Yeah, very cool.
For those who read my book, you'll see my name in there. The business that I owned, it did website design and management, social media marketing, and photography. So that day, May 5th, 2017, I went to go shoot some pictures for a church that I was managing the website for, which is actually my church. And because the pictures on the website were outdated. You know,
so they needed some of the Kiwi love, huh?
They needed the Kiwi sensation to be added to that. So that's how I conduct that. I took the pictures and I also was the website designer and manager. My goal was to get those photos when I go down to work that weekend. I'm gonna have my laptop. I was gonna bring that with me to base and everything, and I'm gonna just work on the website when I got some downtime. I was also going to college full time.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm gonna do some work. I'm gonna do all this. You know, I was one of those workers. Can you hear the champion within?
I'm feeling it. I really am. I knew you were aligned for this show.
I ride my motorcycle to go take the pictures, so I got a backpack on with the camera and the carrying case inside the backpack. That's how I used to go, you know, do really cool shots. You know, I loved getting on that bike. It was just one of those things that actually freed your mind more than anything.
Riding the motorcycle.
Yeah. Just to feel the wind on you, you know, and like to be, especially where I'm going to take you guys here in a second. That was so peaceful. Right. And I also had a Bluetooth headset so I could listen to music.
Yeah, we're going to talk about your love of music too. We have so many things to talk about. So you're riding that motorcycle and you're just in the flow, feeling the air. And that was pretty common for you, right? You rode motorcycles all the time?
I started riding dirt bikes when I was little, but I kind of got away from that when I got into sports.
Okay.
You know, so that really, it was like young life. And then I like broke off and when I wanted to get real serious about sports.
Gotcha.
And it was just go for sports. I'm trying to play sports year round type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, back to the day of May 5th, you know, I had picked or went and got my bike out of the garage that day because it was beautiful. I mean, North Carolina weather in the spring, it could be amazing. And then it could be those days where it's like, it's amazing for a second. Then you look up and you see that dark cloud. You're like, uh-oh.
Same thing here. I feel that. I mean, more than you know. I'm in flip flops right now because I'm
Uh-huh.
pretending like it's summer, but tomorrow it could be 39. So
Yeah, it's supposed to be 77 today, so yes.
yeah,
But
awesome.
anywho,
So you're driving
yeah,
from the
so
shoot.
I went the ride from my apartment to where I was shooting the pictures might have been 10 minutes.
Okay.
Might have. And I say that because my motorcyclists know what I mean by that. It was probably shorter.
Gotcha. Yeah, you had to take the scenic route. We get you.
Yeah, but anyway,
Okay.
so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a little bit more of a ride and go to one of my little favorite spots, which was Jordan Lake here in North Carolina. For all my North Carolina listeners or those who have ever been to North Carolina and know about it.
Mm-hmm.
That ride from where my church is located to Jordan Lake is about 35 minutes. Great ride if you want to, jump on a bike and go there. Now, where you park is another thing because it's like gravel and dirt. So you gotta be careful where you park. But they also added I guess you could call them like handicap spots.
Okay.
And so that's where they put the pavement at. And so I said, well, I don't usually see too many handicapped people over here. I'm going to park my bike right here.
Gotcha.
And so I parked my bike right there, but I kind of put it up at the top just in case somebody came. And I'm like, all right, I need to move it,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I would sit there for a while. And that used to be my to-go spot all the time when I needed to get away.
Hmm.
If I couldn't literally jump on a plane and get away or go to another state to get away, that was my spot.
Okay.
Well, here comes a car flying on the little highway that they have there, 2-lane highway that I would be riding on here shortly. And it distracted me, woke me up. I was like, wait a minute, I gotta go. So I look at my watch. I was like, oh yeah, it's time to go. And I jumped back on my bike, headed out. I'm taking off. On that highway, it's just like I said, 2 lanes. So the speed limit was 55, but hey, you're on the back roads. You're like countryside.
Yeah.
And so everywhere that there's like an intersection, the trees are cut back because in North Carolina, if you've ever been here, there's like a lot of trees, like and tall ones at that.
Right. Yeah, I've been.
Alongside the road. And so they usually cut the trees back in these intersections so that you can see.
Right.
Exactly. You don't want to pull out in front of a car, truck that's doing 55 miles an hour and it's like,
can't see past the tree, right?
Yeah. And so that's why they do that. And this car, as I'm just coming down, I mean, trees whizzing by, I'm coming down the road, music playing. I'm probably listening to Bruno Mars because that's when that 24 Karat Magic CD came out and it was bumping.
Yeah.
And so I'm jamming. And anywho, here comes a car, a Honda Accord that pulls out in front of me.
Oh.
And as I tell everybody, I had 3 options. I could go right and go into the trees. I could go left and go into oncoming traffic.
Right.
Or I could do what ended up happening. And that's it, freezing up and hitting him.
Oh my gosh.
And from that moment, I remember nothing until June the 6th. Why June the 6th? I'm sure everybody's like, what? Yeah, I was in a medically induced coma for a month and a day.
So scary.
Yeah, you telling me.
Yeah. So then
I had
June
no clue
6th,
I was a part of the world.
Right. So June 6th,
Mm-hmm.
did you come out of that coma on your own? How do you, I
guess they kind of like slowed up the drip that I was, forcing me into the coma. So I guess they slowed it up, enough for me to like wake up naturally, normally, not just be like,
right.
In a panic. What's going on?
Right.
So,
where am I?
Yeah. So, I literally woke up almost like it was, a normal sleep.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, no joke.
And you remember waking up?
I do. I do remember waking up because I could hear people talking. And those two people that were talking, I remember vividly. Those 2 people that were talking at the time was my girlfriend. She's now an ex, and my mom. And I'm thinking I'm waking up in my bedroom. That's like I just told y'all. It felt like a natural wake up. So I felt like I was waking up in my bedroom.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I know why my girlfriend would be here.
Why is my mom here?
But what the heck is my mom doing here?
Yeah, like this is strange.
This just got weird.
Right. Oh my
So
gosh.
I'm listening to them talk. And for those who understand possums, I was playing possum, acting like
Okay.
I was not aware of what was going on.
You're like, let me just feel this situation out a little bit
Yeah,
here
so
and
I just
not say anything. So what did you hear them saying as you were
they
playing
were
possum?
they were talking about the motorcycle accident.
Oh,
They were
okay.
actually talking about it.
Wow.
But the thing about it is they were never saying who it was.
So
And I'm
this is a story you're hearing as if it's
yeah.
not your story.
Yeah, well, it was just like generalizations, and so
Okay.
I'm like, generalizations with no name. I'm like,
So when did you say, like, what is
yeah,
going on?
yeah, that's what I'm getting to. So I'm like, this just got real. Who been in a motorcycle accident and why? you know,
Is
and
that what you
so
said to them?
no, this is what I'm
Oh,
thinking. As
okay.
I'm still
Okay.
playing possum, I'm like, wait a minute, okay, now this is getting too serious. And so I finally, go to wake up or show them that I'm awake.
Okay.
And
Sure.
so I open my eyes only to not be able to see anything.
Oh my God.
And I said, whoa. And so I do one of those really hard blinks as if you're going to like clear your eyes up.
Like, I'm trying to wake up.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute, something in my eye. I think something in it. Oh, no, nothing's in it. I
Hmm.
still can't see. And so now I'm like, panic. and,
Understandably.
and so I go to try to speak now, only to not be able to talk because my jaw had been broken and now my mouth is wired shut.
Do they realize you're awake at this point? Do you
Oh, they do
know? Are
now.
they saying stuff to
hey,
you? Or
hey.
did you
Oh,
hear them saying, like, oh, you're awake? Or
they knew now
okay.
because I'm now really about to panic.
Of course.
I can't talk. I can't see. And at that time, I didn't know. I didn't really realize I could not smell. That was
Okay.
later, told to me.
Sure. Yeah. I
'Cause
mean, your brain can only handle so much at this point that's coming into
well,
you.
it wasn't even that. It was just like I could breathe just fine. I
Okay.
had no problems breathing. And you don't really realize that you can't smell until there's like a foul odor or
Right.
some sweet aroma that somebody's like, hey, do you
It
smell
smells
that?
great. Yeah.
Yeah, like you smell that? I'm like, no.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
like,
Okay.
no, I don't smell
Such a
anything.
good point. Yeah. You're not like if somebody is sick or something, or God forbid in your situation, you don't
And
realize it until someone's like, oh my God, that smell.
yeah, blessing and a curse. I say that because bathroom breaks are fine.
Too funny.
But
You're like, I'm good.
yeah, but my girlfriend, she's like, how do I smell? Or how does that food smell? I'm like, one of those moments. Like,
Yeah.
I can't smell it.
Wow. So how did you communicate with them, or were you able to?
Oh man. Now here's a story for you. So they both came to each side of my bed. So there's one on each side.
Hmm.
And so they're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm like, I'm blind.
Right.
What do you think is wrong? I'm in a hospital bed. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you're in
But
your brain, you're
anyway,
like, so many
yeah.
things.
And so I'm trying to say all these things. And really the one question I want to know is who's in a motorcycle accident? And so she can't understand me. My mom can't understand me, neither can my girlfriend. I don't even know if my girlfriend is trying to.
Right, you're not sure.
And so my mom's like, here. And I'm like, here what? She's like, here. And I reach my hands out. I was like, she handed me a pen and a notepad. And I'm like, now I know, I can't see.
Yeah, you're like,
what's going on
we in
here?
the same room.
I'm like, hello, ma, hello.
Right.
Like, pointing at my eyes and stuff. And she's like, no, just write it down. I said, all right. So I'm frustrated at this point. I'm writing and trying to make sure I don't write over top of what I already wrote.
Right.
And I hand it back to her. And she's like, reading it. And she's like, oh, no, that's not a dream. That's what happened to you.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I literally sunk into my bed. Like if you could, anybody who's listening, if you could have ever felt where you sunk into a bed or into any moment, that was mine. I did not speak. I did not interact. I did not try to communicate. I didn't even care if I ate that day.
Right.
June the 7th was the next time I would try to interact with somebody.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot to take in. I can imagine how you would just shut down and like you said, sink into your bed.
Yeah, no joke, man. I mean, it was it was one of those things that, as the saying goes, I got hit with a ton of bricks.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so it was.
And when you did decide to speak again,
Yeah.
or you were writing it, I assume,
Communicate.
since your jaw was wired shut.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? Or did someone tell you what was the next thing you wrote?
Yeah, the next thing I said was, well, what the heck happened?
Gotcha.
That's basically what I was trying to figure out. So how did this come about?
Okay.
Where, when, how? I don't even know what day at the time, I didn't even know what day it was.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking it's May 5th.
I can't even imagine.
I lost a month and didn't know it.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what you do in that situation. Hey listeners, are you ready to unleash your inner champion? Let's talk about something close to my heart. My merch t-shirts, my Champion Within assemblies, and the Village Mentality. When you grab one of these t-shirts, you're not just rocking some cool gear, you're making a real difference. Every single purchase helps fund powerful school and community programs that lift kids up, builds confidence, sparks connection, and we're straight up creating champions. My goal, when I roll in to give a keynote, I want to go into a local school in that area and bring the Champion Within school assembly to life. So when you wear one of these shirts, you're part of something way bigger than a transaction. You're helping change lives. Thank you for being in this with me. From the bottom of my heart, much love and gratitude. After the show, head down to the show notes, click on that link, and go grab your t-shirt. Now let's get back to the podcast chat. I would love for you to share. You have such an amazing motivational vibe now. I know it took a while to get there, and your book is called Don't Focus on Why Me.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a why me moment after this, or how did you get through this and get to this book of Don't Focus on Why Me?
Well, that title kind of came from when I was in the hospital. Because, as soon as somebody, I don't care what it is, you could have stubbed your toe or knocked over your coffee or get in a motorcycle accident. You're gonna question at some point, why did this have to happen to me? Why did that? What is going on? And you're gonna ask all these questions. And then when I was doing that in the hospital, and I'm in the hospital, this is like one of the rare occasions that I'm in my room alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to have like visitors all the time, and somebody would be staying in the room with me type thing. This is the one rare occasion where nobody was in my room. And
just
I was
you
like,
with your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm just like, why me, man? I'm just like feeling like I'm talking to the wall.
Right.
Until I get a response.
And what was the response? Did you hear one?
Yeah. It said, well, why not you?
I just got chills. That's
great. You and me both when it happened.
Yeah.
I said, wait a minute. Hold on. I know I'm in this room by myself. Right. At least I thought I was.
Yeah, you're like, uh-oh, something's happening here. I'm getting a message here. What did you think about that? Why not me?
Well, see, so he showed me, and I'm a faith believer. So he showed me and was just running through the list of things that I could do with my eyes closed. For those who can't see behind me, I'm pointing to her and showing Kate that I have a drum set and a piano behind me.
I did notice that.
I still play to today. I still play these till today.
There are so many things that you do that I feel like we could talk for days on this. That you said something, I don't know if I heard it on another podcast or maybe I saw it on your Instagram, but that you did not lose your vision and that you're still doing things. I lost my vision, but I did not lose my vision. The fact that I see that, behind you, the drum set, and I've seen videos of you in Planet Fitness, like killing. I see you doing things with, is it Wounded Warriors?
I've competed with the Department of Defense Warrior Games, shall I say? And that's where we got all of those uniforms and nice clothing or items you see me wear and stuff. So I wear it proudly because you're hand selected pick out of, I think it's like almost 200 people trying to get
Okay.
on the team, and it's only 40 slots,
Right.
and so I was one of the 40. I was like,
Now, is your
let's go.
vision, yeah, that's so incredible. Is your
Yeah.
vision where you're saying, I did not lose my vision of my purpose and my place and why not me? Did that include things like movement,
Oh yeah.
competing, music? What
So
came to you first?
so the quote, which is my quote actually, I lost my sight,
Mm,
but I did not lose my vision.
perfect.
And a lot of people are like, wait, ain't that like the same thing? No. My vision was to always help people. I've always
Gotcha.
wanted to
I'm
help
so glad you
others.
corrected me with that because
Yeah,
I knew it
and
was a good line.
yeah. So the thing is, I've always wanted to help people, whether it was teammates back in the day, in the weight room, on the field, however I can help you. Going into the Air Force, helping my country. I became an instructor, so I was teaching. So
That was
helping
always your vision to help
all
others. And
at some way, try to give back in some shape, form, or fashion.
how do you think your journey from maybe football or competing when you're, in different phases of your life, even right now, how has that helped you?
Oh, well, first off, tremendously, because it allows my mind to kind of just go into a zone. I'm sure when you saw me in the gym, whenever I'm lifting weights, I kind of look like I have a mean mug on.
Well, so do I, so that's okay.
But I know, but I'm gonna tell you why. That's when
Tell us.
That's when I'm in the zone. All I'm focused on is the weight that I'm lifting. I don't notice anybody else in that gym.
So you're literally in the flow there, just in the moment, in the zone, and it's just you and the weights.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, if you come and distract me, we now have a problem. I'm sorry to say this.
I actually feel that more than at the gym.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say this, but we now have a problem. I will talk to you when I get done lifting, okay? As soon as I get done with this set, we can have a conversation.
Right.
But when I'm on these weights, please wait.
I love that. Could I put that on a shirt and wear it to the gym when I'm on these weights? Please wait.
I know, right? That sounded pretty good.
I am the most social person where I'm always asking people about who they are, what they're doing. But if I'm at the gym, just stay away from me. Please wait.
I'm telling you, when I'm on these weights, please wait.
Please wait and put barbells or something on it. I love that. Your journey to where you are now obviously has been impacted from, where you were as a teenager and in your journey through life in general. Are there people that have been a part of that journey, maybe before accident, after the accident, that really inspired you and impacted your mindset?
Mindset? Well, yeah, I mean, my upcoming. So, my upbringing in general. Listen, I just said this the other day on another podcast. I was an outdoor kid. Put it this way. I was hurt if I couldn't go outside.
Oh, yeah.
These kids nowadays get hurt if they go outside.
I know, we have to force them. We're like, go outdoors. Before, it's like, when I was young, I think I'm older than you. I know I am because I heard you say 2010 you started your journey into the military there.
Yeah.
But we were told when the streetlights come on, you need to come back, that kind of thing. And we would wake up and eat breakfast on the way out the door sometimes, especially through the summers. So I love that. And I actually hate that we have to tell kids now, can you get out of the basement? But
Listen,
so
like
you were an outside kid and that was part of your upbringing.
A part of it because of the simple fact that it allowed me to have friends too. Like I had friends in my neighborhood, not just at school, in a classroom, not just at a social event after school that is indoors. I want to be I learned so much more about people outside than I did inside because they're trying to, we're in a controlled environment. Right. Outdoors, it's not that control.
Right.
I get to learn about you, okay?
And have fun.
Yeah. I'm away from mom. I'm away from dad. I'm away from, certain people. I don't have to show them, that little Kijuan is out here running around being crazy.
Right.
Because I would get in trouble in school.
You would get in trouble in school. I find that hard to believe.
No way.
How come? Why were you getting in trouble?
Listen, so first off, and I'm not trying to boast here, I'm very smart. Like intelligent.
Wait, hold on a second. I got to stop you because I'm a mindset specialist. I want you to boast.
Yeah,
Own
but
it.
but at the same sense, people take it wrong.
I
I
don't care
know
what
how to
people
control.
think.
Listen,
I'm
I
going to
know how to
celebrate
control what
you.
I'm thinking, but
I know what you're being humble
yes,
and
there it
saying,
is.
yeah,
There it
but
is.
we're going to own it and reframe that and say, I'm smart. And then tell me why you think that you were, or maybe you were getting in trouble in school. Because actually, that part doesn't surprise me. I was a teacher for 20 years. And oftentimes, some of the most intelligent kids would be doing some really dumb stuff. And I would say to them, probably not the things you were doing, but I would say to them, if you put this much of your brain power towards your school or your sport, instead of being out running the streets, doing the things that you're doing and getting arrested, all this kind of stuff, could you imagine? I'm sure you're not that level, but
No.
own your intelligence and go ahead. Keep telling me. Had to jump in.
No, you're fine. So, I mean, yes, I'm very intelligent. I'm smart. And, trust me, my mom always told me because I'll bring home a report card and it showed it, and the thing is, I'm so smart that I'm finishing the work too quickly.
Sure.
For
Now
the
you get in
rest of the
trouble.
class.
Yeah.
So now I'm sitting there by myself and everybody else still got their head down with their paper and pencils and stuff. And I'm like, so what you doing?
What can I get into?
I'm like looking at the kid next to me. Hey, what you doing? And they're like, I'm doing my classwork. I was like, oh, okay. So the answer to number 3 is like, and
Right,
the teacher's like,
if we
wait,
could
what are
speed
you
this
doing?
up, yeah.
And the teacher's like, what are you doing? I was like, I was just trying to help. There goes that help thing again.
Right. Yeah. It's
But I
always
didn't
been
know that
part
was a
of you.
bad thing. I
Right.
didn't know that was a bad thing. We have to let people think for themselves. And so, the teacher's like, no, you have to sit there quietly. If you're finished, you got to sit there quietly. I was like, this is going to suck.
Right. Yeah.
How long are they going to take?
For sure.
I'll sit here like, how long is this going to take? And so I've literally gotten in so much trouble in school because I am sitting idle.
Right.
I can't sit idle. If I sit idle and I mean literally not doing anything, there's going to be trouble. There's going to be two.
Yeah, and I get to love teachers in workshops and speak engagements, and I remind them because I have one of you as my third child, and I mean, he could find a fire alarm and pull it and then yell, "It works," and he's just super intelligent. So, yeah, so I'm constantly telling teachers that as myself and a mom, and the work I do now, you need something for that kid to do, whether it's like take a walk to the office and drop this off for me, or you need to be aware of that kid. So
I was that kid too. They would ask me to do stuff like that for real. In elementary, for sure, they would ask me to take something to the office. So I knew all the people in the front office. I knew all of them.
He's back,
and it wasn't even the bad side of it. It was like, oh, what are you doing here? I was like, she told me to bring this to you.
Yeah.
She's like,
I needed a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all need that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I love that your upbringing influenced you. Once you experienced the accident and moved through navigating, how am I going to, why not me? And how am I going to navigate this? Was there anyone that was part of that journey for you to help you take the next step so you didn't focus on why me?
Anyone? I can't call one name.
It's
way too many. I even wrote a chapter about these people. Like literally from the time of my accident until the time I got out of the hospital.
Okay.
So my uncle, he's a pastor at a church in Durham, North Carolina. And shout out to Cup of Salvation Deliverance Church. They plus another church named Shabbat Ministries. And then it was I can't remember the third church. I can never remember the third church. I do remember those two because I know people that go to those two churches.
Okay.
They set up a 24-hour prayer wall. And what that means is they prayed 24 hours until I got out of that hospital.
When you say prayer wall, were they outside?
No, like literally just every hour somebody's praying for me.
Oh, I love that.
Every single hour.
So, my question really was there anyone? There was a whole village.
Listen, I had so many people and that's just one iteration, the
Right.
prayer wall. But you have, like I said, all the countless people that kept coming to my hospital room.
Right.
And I used to love that. One thing I advocate for is if anybody under the sound of my voice, if you have a friend, family, associate, coworker, I don't care who they are to you, and you like really know them, and they get in some situation, whether it doesn't have to be as bad as my accident. They could have, broke a foot and needed or just have bunion surgery. Like, something like that. Go visit them. Take them some food. Whatever their favorite snack might be, a Snickers bar, take it to them.
Yeah.
Like
I
something
love
like
that you
that.
said that. And I want to go a little further with it
Yeah.
because sometimes when I have friends, family, different people who experience nothing like your level even, or sometimes it is pretty tragic, we often will send a text message or something to maybe the mom or so, like, let's say their kid had a broken bone or something easier to manage. If you need anything, let me know. And I have stopped doing that in life. I just show up. And I say, I brought all the kids Gatorades and snacks, or we got you a gift card for pizza, because we, myself included, often say, I'm good. I don't need anything. I think we're okay. But you're so right that just showing up and going to visit them and, doing it without them asking, because we don't always ask for what we need. We want to give it to other people and we give it freely, but ourselves, and this is people in general, myself included, we don't ask for what we need because we don't want to burden other people. I love that advice that you're giving people to just show up.
And also not while they're just in the hospital, because it does get hard at home too.
Yeah, keep it going.
There are some of those days, like you just said about bringing Gatorade and all that stuff. My friend, he did that. He brought his kids with him.
Awesome.
And he brought pizza for everybody.
Yeah.
So not only are the kids coming to see me, but they're getting fed, and so am I.
Yeah, everyone loves
pizza. And listen, who doesn't like pizza?
Exactly.
They got all different kinds of pizza, gluten-free too.
Right. I love that. What great advice. You have so much great advice, and I was looking at all the things. I'm like, what do I want to take? I could pull all these things. I loved an acronym you use. I'm kind of obsessed with acronyms, I should tell you, because it is easy for the brain to remember them. I do a lot of my work because of my youngest guy, the one who pulled the fire alarms, has a uniquely beautiful brain.
I feel like he really does that now.
He doesn't anymore.
Okay.
But when he was early elementary school, he's the third in line, and my oldest was a competitive basketball player, travel teams and stuff. My husband and I would scout out the fire alarms because we knew that he would try to get to them. We would stand in front of them. People are like, why are you standing at one end of the gym and your husband's at the other? I'm like, well, there's 2 fire alarms in here. And people thought it was like funny because he did it at a game once. And they had
God.
Believe me, I did not think it was funny. And everyone else was like, oh, it's no big deal. They turned it off. I'm like, no, it is a big deal. Like, he can't be doing this. But he doesn't do it anymore. But when he was early elementary, he'll be a high schooler next year. Thank God he doesn't do it anymore. But I use acronyms a lot when his brain is unique. He has ADHD, auditory processing, dyslexia, all kinds of things that make that beautiful brain.
Yeah.
So when we use acronyms, when I teach him and other people how to do things, I love acronyms. So you have one that I heard somewhere that was WILL, WILL, and I would love for you to tell my audience what that is.
Yeah, well, first off, it came from my annual event that's coming up here May 3rd, 2025.
Okay.
And that's will to overcome.
Love it.
So will is in all caps. If you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So most acronyms are to show you that it is an acronym.
Mm-hmm.
And so will stands for win in life's lessons.
This is amazing.
And we have to win in life's lessons in order to overcome adversity.
Yes, we do.
So that's where that came from.
You don't have to have a motorcycle accident or my son's unique, beautiful brain may leave my teaching career after 20 years and start this business. You don't have to have the exact thing that we have, but you can use that acronym in every area of life.
Yeah.
Tell me a little story about how you've used that acronym and what you do now, if you could weave that in so everyone knows all the cool things you're doing now.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, just to have competed in sports, growing up, that showed me how to win in life's lessons because I had to learn how to take losses, but learn from the loss.
Right.
Which helped me win in the next game.
Can you repeat that a little louder for the people in the back? You have to do that.
Yeah, so no, like competing in sports, when you would lose, I mean, everybody's up and when you're winning, okay? Everybody's up. But when you take that loss, say you're 4-0 right now, and then you get 4-1, and you take that loss and you're feeling down, hopeless, but you got to figure out, go back, watch film, whatever you got to do to take in the learning tools to help you win the next game.
Yeah. I always say failure or setback, it's research.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to learn, that's how you will win. That's how
Yeah.
you will succeed in all areas of life. And it's tough to take the feedback, but if you look at it as a gift, even if you're reviewing it yourself or someone else is giving you that lesson learned feedback type thing there, if you unwrap that gift, there's something inside, even if it's poorly wrapped.
Mhm.
You have something to learn. So
Yeah.
I think that's incredible and it's easy for people to remember.
Yeah.
The WILL acronym. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
I do want to go into what you're doing now. You get to talk to people as a motivational speaker. I heard you talk about your event that you're having annually. What is the message? There's so many, but what is the big message that you give to people if someone invited you on stage and they happen to catch your keynote?
Yeah, no, so the one in May, that one is basically what I just told you all about. One of my main focal points that I speak to has a quote attached to it. Not the one that I've already mentioned about losing my sight,
Mhm.
and didn't lose my vision. It's another one that I hold on to dearly. And it's, my situation does not define who I am. I define who I am. So whenever somebody's trying to put a label on you, somebody's trying to put you in this corner or in this box, show them why that label doesn't stick anymore. Show them why there's oil on you and it's going to slide off.
This is
Because
wonderful.
I
love
want people who even people who tried to put labels on me. Man, there were so many people trying to keep me in the house. I've been from the West Coast to the East Coast to the down south to the up north. Okay,
Keep you in the house? Tell me, what do you mean by that?
these 4 walls that I'm sitting in. When I first came out of that hospital, nobody wanted me to go anywhere.
Because they were worried something would
Yeah,
happen.
they wanted, to have eyes on me.
Protective bubble.
Yes, and now I go places without them.
Okay.
And it's not like I'm saying no, you can't go. It's like, I want you to see what I can do.
Right.
Because I can't show you something if you're always there.
Yeah, you have to let me.
Yeah, you have to. And the other thing is, there are resources out here to help and assist. I've had to find those resources, and you ask for help at any point. That's what it's all about. I've flown East Coast to West Coast, down south, up north. I've been somewhere everywhere. And so with that being said, when I go through TSA, I've coordinated before I ever arrive at the airport.
Right.
At least 3 days in advance. I call this entity called TSA Cares. There's a separate entity of TSA.
Okay.
It's called TSA Cares. And you call them, you set all your stuff up, tell them what your flight information is, your phone number and all that, so they could call you on the day if they have people available. Or when you get to the airport, you call them. You bug them too.
Sure.
And
That's their job.
Exactly. They're getting paid. Bug them.
Right.
So
everything is figure outable.
Yeah.
If we're willing to do the work.
Yep. I wrote about that in my book as well.
I need to order the book. I can't wait to read it, actually. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. Where can people find it? This is a good place for us to say that. Where can people get that book?
Yeah, you can definitely find it on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, and Apple Books. The Audible and Apple Books are both audio versions.
Right.
Because I definitely wanted it to be audio for my people such as myself, visually impaired, or those who like to listen to the book in the car.
Right. While you drive or take a walk or something. I think that's great.
And again, the title to it is Don't Focus on Why Me, From Motorcycle Accident to Miracle.
Love it. And what I will do for my listeners, so you can do this very easily, I don't want to make it complicated for anyone. When you go into the show notes of this episode, I will have the links there so you can go buy the book and whatever version you like. If you want it in your hands or if you want the audio piece, we will have all of those links there because I like to make things easy for people and click on the link. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I think that there's so much to learn, even if we have a different journey.
Yeah.
And that book, I'm going to enjoy reading it. I can't wait. I get my highlighter out sometimes and I highlight things. So don't be surprised if I'm tagging you saying, well, this was epic.
Listen, I'm telling you, everybody that I've done a podcast with that actually read the book, they start talking about it in their reels or something on Instagram or Facebook.
We'll probably have another podcast after I read it. I mean, I'm not done with you. There's so much that we have to talk about.
Like, it's so crazy. I've seen these different, they're like, oh, you've got to go pick up this, and they'll tag me in it. So they're like, you got to go get this book, and they'll read a little short passage from it or something. Oh, it's crazy.
I love that.
Yeah.
I do have one more thing that I want to talk about before I give you my signature question at the end.
Okay.
I heard, I think, on a podcast and different places where you've mentioned that music has been a big part of your life. You have drums right behind you.
Yes.
I'm going to admit something. Some of my listeners might know this, but every time before I go on stage to present, every time before I go on an interview with a guest, or if I am a guest on a podcast, I dance and I turn music on. I drive to events with certain songs. I have songs that I use in certain areas of my life.
Yeah.
Just they have different meaning to me. And I really, I don't think I'm musical myself, but I bust out some songs and sing. What music is your go-to, or has there been something where you are always coming back to this one song or like genre that you love?
First and foremost, everybody sounds good in the shower. I don't care.
Well, yeah. I also sound good when I'm driving with the windows down. And my teenagers think that when I'm in the kitchen doing the dishes, dancing, that it doesn't sound good, but I think they're just probably not, into what I'm listening to. So I don't listen to their reviews.
Look, their reviews don't matter.
Exactly.
Look, show less. Hey, click the toggle show less.
100%.
Yeah, no. So, as far as music, definitely, I believe and wholeheartedly believe that music is therapy. Because they wouldn't have made music therapy if it wasn't.
True.
And so for me, I grew up in church, like literally to the point where when I started standing up, I was in a church. So like I told you, I got pastors, elders, ministers, deacons, missionaries, everything, musicians, singers, everything in my family. So we all were church related, and now I'm actually in a singing group. And I also play the drums at my church. Every Sunday I'm home, I will be on behind the drum set. Okay, so it's a beautiful thing. First and foremost, my favorite artist is Ty Tribbett.
Okay,
and he's a gospel artist, contemporary. He does some contemporary as well. But ever since I started hearing him and hearing his drummer, oh sheesh, man, like because he's first off, he's musically gifted, not just singing. He can play the keys. He could play drums. He could play the bass.
Incredible.
Like he is gifted.
That's always awesome.
Yeah, and so him, and then Pastor John P. Key. He's actually from Durham.
Okay.
So a native. You always want a native to, or if you can anyway, have a native that you can relate to. And he, I can't relate to him completely because I think he was born like 15 or 16 children or something like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Don't have that many. So, but yeah, he's.
But the music you can relate to. Okay.
He's definitely an artist you listen to, especially back in my day. I grew up in the 90s, so growing up, that's mainly all you heard on the radio was John P. Key, in the car, going to church, whatever. And
right.
So, yeah.
Cool. I love it. I always am interested to see what music that people love, because I do think it plays an important role in so many ways. The athletes I work with, they're pregame,
Yeah,
post-game.
I'm telling you, it creates the vibe.
Right.
Because
100%.
music does have an effect on your soul.
Well, yes, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing those. I'm going to have to check out the artists with that. Well, as we're coming to an end here, really, we will talk again because
Yeah.
there's so many things that we could dive into. And I do want to read the book and then we'll talk again after that. I always ask my guests who are on the show, if you had the opportunity to go back in time or forward in time and spend one day there, because we think you're awesome. We don't want you to really go back and be there forever. Plus, I do value the present moment. Where would you go and what are you doing that day?
I'm pretty sure everybody's thinking I'm going to say the motorcycle accident day. No. I mean, I was going to have a motorcycle regardless. Okay. That was like my third year of riding the bike anyway. It wasn't like it was my first year. So either it was going to happen or it wasn't. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I just see life as what it is. My day that I would probably choose.
It's a tough choice.
It really is, because I've had so many amazing days that it's kind of hard to say, ugh.
Right. I know. Go forward or back. Your choice.
Yeah. I would go I'm gonna go forward. I'm gonna go into the future.
Where are you headed?
And I'm headed I'd probably say at least 5 years from now. At least.
And what are you doing
because
that day?
I definitely want to still be doing motivational speaking.
Thank goodness for all of us.
Oh yeah, and life coaching as well as mentoring. Because like I said, that was my whole purpose, is to be here helping others.
Mm-hmm.
So once I discovered that was my purpose, I still want to be doing that, but I want to be doing it at a high level to where there's so many people listening to me, not just because I'm making money off of it. No, that's not the goal. It's because I want them to understand that I am actually a factor to doing something great in life. Because I want to make a difference.
Right.
I don't want to be on microphones just to be on microphones. I don't want to be on stages just to be on stages. I don't want to be there just to collect a check. That person that's sitting in the front, I want you to remember who I am. Or you could be sitting all the way in the back. I want you to remember who I am because of what I said that stuck with you.
I love that. Someone said something related to speaking that I'm connected with. She is also a speaker, and she really just put it in a great perspective for me, that be a lighthouse, not the spotlight where the spotlight is on you, which does happen as a speaker, but be up there to be a lighthouse so you can shine the light from your message, your storytelling to everybody out there, and then they can absorb that. And what did they take? Just like you were saying, what did they take from me so that they can show up as the best version of themselves?
Exactly.
And it sounds almost very similar to what you're describing. And I love that for you. I think that jump to the future is, something that will happen. I'm excited to see it unfold for you and watch your journey. And maybe I will come MC one of your opening things. We'll have to, maybe if you're here in Philly, or I'll fly in somewhere, we'll see. But I think that this is just the beginning, for you, and that journey into the future is really going to be exciting. Where could people connect with you for those things? I want to drop that as well as we come to the end here. Is there the best place, LinkedIn, a website, or maybe both, that people should reach out if they say, hey, we want you to come talk?
Absolutely. And this is where I'm going to get on my microphone. I'm a disc jockey here. So,
you do that.
All right. If you would like to reach out to me and attach yourself to me, you can go to ameymotivation.com. That is AMEY motivation.com. There you can find all of my social media handles like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as Twitter. If you would like to reach out and book me for one of your speaking engagements or one of your events, a conference, or what have you, please go in there and click the book me link now. And you can also find my book located on there. There's the link up there too. Remember, that is on Amazon, and it is called Don't Focus on Why Me, From Motorcycle Accident to Miracle. Thank you.
Well, that was phenomenal. I loved that.
Thank you.
And we will, of course, drop all of those links in there, but I'm pretty sure people are just going to listen to that voice. That was incredible. I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining me today on The Champion Within. I know when I edit this and I go back and listen as the episode drops live, I'm going to learn again. And all of my listeners are going to be sending me messages. I'll make sure that I tag you in all the places and show you everything that they have gained, because you're doing that now, just like you do from the stages. And I'm grateful for you. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, champions, thank you for joining us today, and go have an amazing rest of your week on purpose.
Thank you for hanging out with Kate today. And whether you're going to coach, teach, cheer from the sidelines, or hitting the field yourself, remember, mindset is everything. Don't forget to follow the show for the latest episodes, as we all need a little extra motivation, humor, and sanity in our busy lives. Now, go and unleash your champion within you, one step at a time. We're always rooting for you.